until 11.
See my text? My main thing now, Rich, is that you follow the whole thing, like,
What's up, everybody? What's up? It's your man, Ant Walker, here at the Bellator 228 official weigh-ins. And Pitbull is the first up on the scale. 144.9. Coming in 0.1 pounds under. At least half of the title fight is official against Juan Archuleta. Mike Jasper up next. $174.7 for Mike Jasper. Mike Jasper will be fighting Johnny Cisneros on the prelims. And that is being fought at a 175-pound catch weight. Emilio Williams also on the prelim card. He'll be fighting Ian Butler. He is approaching the scale right now. Six-fight veteran with a record of 4-2. $162.9 for Emilio Williams.
Up next, Joshua Jones.
Joshua Jones is approaching the scale. 155. 12-fight veteran with a record of 8-4. He will be fighting Dominic Clark. So Cole Shelton, the Judas of Sherdog, my homie Cole, he is in the chat. Weird they made Musasi Machida main event on such short notice. Yes, that would be very. AJ Gazarian is on the scale now. 146 for AJ. Sean Bunch. $135 for Sean Bunch. Castle Williams, who's scheduled to fight Weber Almeida at bantamweight. 144.1 looks like that will be a catch weight as well. Johnny Santa Maria. 129.3. His fight against Benji Gomez is scheduled for a 130-pound catch weight. Santa Maria is 3-4. Benji Gomez at 8-13. So this will be the third fight
Cisneros.
on the card. Johnny Cisneros is approaching the scale now. His opponent, Mike Jasper, already weighed in.
175.6.
175.6 for Cisneros. The fight against Mike Jasper is official. It's like Gegard Mousasi is coming up next.
Gegard Mousasi.
$186 for Gegard Mousasi. It looks like that main event is half official. Of course, he's scheduled to fight Lyoto Machida. It's like Ava Knight, WBO boxing champion, who was making her MMA debut,
Ava Knight.
is next up.
114.9.
114.9 for Ava Knight, who's scheduled to fight Shannon Gari, who is a 3-3 veteran. Ava Knight once again making her mixed martial arts debut. Henry Corrales, the man who authored one of the upsets over Aaron Pico, scheduled to fight former bantamweight champion Darian Caldwell on the scale right now.
144.4.
He is 144.4, and that fight is halfway official. Jason Edwards approaching the scale now. He is scheduled to fight Adrian Jara, and I'm seeing that listed as a bantamweight fight. Jason Edwards is 2-0. His opponent is 1-0.
$134.4.
134.4.
James Barnes up next.
James Barnes up next. James Barnes will be in the curtain jerker of the evening. He has an 11-4 record, scheduled against David Duran. 132.1. The fight against David Duran is, I'm seeing, listed as a 133-pound catchweight fight. So.
All right, that's it for now.
All right, so we've officially just been told that that's it for the moment, and you know how these weigh-ins go. Everybody jumps out there, weighs in really quick, and then you got a few people who haven't quite made it just yet. I actually did see one fighter who, prelim fighter, can't remember his name, but he was doing sprint drills in the parking lot, trying to cut those last few pounds. So we do have a nice list of people who have not weighed in. Among the notables, Juan Archuleta, Lyoto Machida, former champion Darian Caldwell, Weichel and Saul Rogers, both AJ and Antonio McKee, Georgie Karkarian, Antonio's opponent William Serapia, AJ Argazon's opponent, John Kuros, as well. Some of the notable names that have not stepped on the scale just yet. So, if you guys have any questions, just go ahead, drop them in the chat. We'll converse for a little bit. Or I'll just take a break and get me some water. It's up to you. You know what? I've decided I'm going to take a little break. I'll be back. Stay tuned. All right, I'm back from my water break to find out the good news that Spider-Man has been re-entered into the MCU for at least 2 more movies. So, thank you, Cole, for the good news. Let's celebrate. So at least we don't have to worry about how they're going to write Iron Man's existence out of the Spider-Man movies. Yeah. And you kind of think like, yeah, Marvel could get around not having Spider-Man so much for like the cosmic level of things, because what's a teenager going to do in that? But it's good we don't have to worry about these things for at least 2 more movies. These are the things I think about while I'm waiting for fighters to come step on the scale. It's a lot of deep thought going on here at Sherdog.com. All right, so I have the privilege of being joined by Bloody Elbows, Nick Baldwin. So we are sitting here at the official weigh-ins for Bellator 228, and this is that beautiful waiting game of who's going to come to the scale next, as we have, about an hour and 45 minutes to go until this is over with. Yeah, man, we've got most of the, at least half of the major fights weighed in, so I don't know if you had to guess who's going to have trouble with the scale, where would your bet be?
Well, AJ McKee's a big featherweight, right? Like he's tall, he's lanky. It's not going to be Darian Caldwell because he makes bantamweight pretty easily, and this is at 145. Weichel is pretty big for 40. Always has made the weight though. Yeah, I mean, I think I was slightly concerned with Musasi just because he said like he was fat coming into this fight or something like that. So, but he's a pro. I mean,
Musasi says a lot of things. Oh, yep. Here we go. Juan Archuleta is walking on the scale. Looks like Lyoto Machida is right behind him as well. TJ Dillashaw off camera. Looks like he's about to step into the shot maybe as he's tending to his teammate Juan Archuleta. 144.6 for Juan Archuleta. That title fight for the featherweight belt as part of the Grand Prix is now absolutely official. We've got the other half of the main event. Lyoto Machida right behind Archuleta. Archuleta quickly becoming one of the fashion icons of mixed martial arts. Former UFC light heavyweight champion, Lyoto Machida on the scale now. 186 for Lyoto Machida. He and Gegard Mousasi will rematch in the main event. Saul Rogers, also part of the featherweight Grand Prix. He's scheduled to fight Daniel Weichel. $144.8 for Saul Rogers. Yeah. Yep. So actually, we did see Karakarian. He tried to come into the room in the wrong entrance.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he was standing right over there. So the commission official told him he had to go around. So I would anticipate him coming up any minute. But in the meantime, it looks like we do have at least somewhat of a break now. As far as like potential misses of weight, I don't see AJ McKee having. Yeah, I don't really see him.
You know, I have to say it'd probably be McKee, but he's always made weight as far as I can remember. So I think we'll be pretty clear sailing. I mean, I'm sure we'll get a prelim guy here or there that might have a tougher cut, but as far as the main card guys, I think we'll be okay.
A lot of catchweight fights on this card earlier. I mean, that's pretty common. You know, Bellator always has a lot of otherwise would be regional fights. I mean, these guys be fighting in lower level promotions. They kind of fill out the prelims, and you have these 18 fight epic cards going on. So those guys, yeah, you know, when you're in the lower levels, like for instance, the curtain jerk is a 133 pound catchweight. Like, that's just.
And it's interesting. I spoke to, not to cut you off, I spoke to Ian Butler yesterday, who's on the prelim card. He's fighting at 165, so it's one of those few catchweights on the card. But he talked a lot about like why California should be implementing this weight class more. I mean, they are, but you know, use it. I mean, hopefully use it in the UFC and Bellator and more often. So it's good to see Bellator seemingly embracing that 165-pound division, at least you know, for catchweights here and there.
Right.
But yeah, he just figured I'd mention. I mean, he's fighting at 165 and he loves it. I mean, he wishes more fights were at 165.
Yeah, I mean, 165 is just something that everybody but Dana White seems to want. It's the most bizarre thing. I mean, the fans are asking for it, the fighters are asking for it, the commission officials are thinking this is the safer route to go. But I mean, I anticipate it will happen at some point, and I guess one good thing about Bellator having a lot of these fights that are these catchweight things going on, you can force that more often. At least get the fans used to it, and California has always been one of the more progressive commissions. Ian Butler is walking up on the scale. $164.8. He will be fighting Emilio Williams, who weighed in earlier. All right, former bantamweight champion Darian Caldwell is next up. His opponent Henry Corrales just weighed in a few minutes ago. 144.9 for Darian Caldwell. In a hurry to rehydrate. Was not trying to take any pictures. Dominic Clark is next up. His opponent, Joshua Jones, has already weighed in. $155.6. That lightweight bout is official. I had an interesting conversation with Darian Caldwell yesterday, and he made it clear he's fully intending on going back to bantamweight, but he just wants this featherweight belt, and saying that he's been able to eat a little more and just kind of not worry about his portion size as much and feeling healthier. I mean, kind of thinking, like, if you're feeling healthier, especially if he comes in this tournament and does well, say he gets if he gets past Henry Corrales, who is not an easy win for anybody, and easily one of the best guys at 145 on Bellator's roster. If he's able to get past him, even if he doesn't win the tournament, like, why take your body through the struggles of bantamweight again?
I agree. I mean, he was telling me also yesterday, it's like he went from 600 a day, 600 calories a day to like 14 or 1600, like it completely different. And so I'm all about it. If fighters think for them it's better to compete at a higher weight class, I'm all for that. I think it's healthier. I think generally they perform better. People are going to look at like the Max Holloway moving up and say, oh, he didn't perform as better against Poirier as he did, say, against Edgar or someone else. But that, I mean, we've seen a lot of guys move up and really just have new careers. Robert Whittaker, Kelvin Gastelum. And so, yeah, I'm all for Caldwell 45. Does that mean he'll win the tournament? Not necessarily, but it's a good move for him.
Yeah, definitely. And he said that most of his wrestling career was at 149. So it's not unfamiliar territory competing there. And now also, too, like, when you're worried about having to cut that weight eventually, your strength and conditioning program, man, you can put a little more muscle on. Oh, who we got? We got somebody coming up to the scale. I can't quite see who it is yet. David Duran, who is the other half of the first bout on the card against James Barnes. This is the fight that's listed as 133-pound catch weight. Very interesting number, but so be it. $132. So we have an official about to start everything off.
One thing I'll say about Caldwell is he still believes he's the bantamweight champion.
Yes, he does.
I don't agree with him on that fact. I think Kyoji Horiguchi is probably the Bellator champ, but
I think the commission would agree.
But
I think
if Caldwell wants to believe that, then all the power to him.
The belt sitting on Horiguchi's Horiguchi's shelf would say the same thing as well. I mean, that sort of irrational confidence is what makes a lot of fighters who they are. So like you said, more power to him. Even if reality disagrees with his assessment of the title picture. So what I really want to see is what Caldwell looks like from a technical standpoint. Like, is it because we've seen the sort of lay and pray method not work for him in his last fight? It didn't work for him in the first Horiguchi fight. Like, he attempted and he was winning.
Both, so.
Yeah, he got submitted at some point once they got up against the ropes. So I really wonder if he's going to try to be actively more offensive.
Yeah, I mean, he did leave ahead of this camp. He left Alliance in San Diego. And so I wonder, I mean, Alliance is a great gym, but not every great gym is a great fit for everybody. Like, just because, I mean, American Top Team, not everybody succeeds there for one reason or the other. So if I think that's him recognizing he's not getting better, he's not improving, he's not progressing. So let's make some changes. So I think that's good. I don't know, I'll be honest, I don't know who he's training with for this camp or where he trained for this camp, but I think any change is good change just because it shows you realize and you recognize that things aren't going your way. So yeah, maybe Alliance, maybe he does have better training partners there, but only we'll see in this fight. whether that move paid off.
Yeah, he when I talked to him at the media day that they had for this about a month and a half or so ago, he did say that Alliance just didn't feel like the fit for him at the moment. So I wouldn't be surprised if he went back to them eventually, but he wanted to return to like his original gym. And every fighter kind of has at some point. A lot of times they have that come to Jesus moment after they lost their belt or had a loss that's kind of tough to swallow. So considering that he still says he's the bantamweight champion, I'm sure those two losses to Horiguchi were not easy to deal with. And you got to think too. A lot of times, like Alliance, their camp is. A lot of those guys have a lot of really good footwork. It's a lot of, outside striking. Yeah, Dominic Cruz, Angela Hill, fits in that category as well. So there's a lot of emphasis on. Yeah, he might. It just might not be something for style, and I think for wrestlers in particular, finding a striking style that complements your wrestling is very important. I've always thought that was kind of the flaw with King Mo when he started doing his boxing training with the Mayweathers. That sort of like shoulder roll, slick style of boxing did not complement his power wrestling game.
Yeah.
So maybe he's kind of figured that part out. We'll see. But I'm really interested in what he looks like at featherweight, how he can hang with with an established featherweight like Corrales, and the technical aspects of his game. What is he going to do different this time around?
I wonder if AKA would be a good fit for him. We were just thinking, like, obviously he's not going to go and train with DC and Kane, but you got two guys that are good on the feet, but predominantly wrestlers, and they mix it up really well. I mean, they're both former champions, obviously both Hall of Famers eventually in the UFC. So I wonder if that would be a place where he can sort of mold his game together and become sort of a better overall fighter.
And, I mean, that's not out of the question, because of course, like you said, he's not going to be on the mat every day wrestling DC, but that is kind of like the Dagestani layover. Guys
Khabib.
like Khabib.
How can I forget about Khabib?
Yeah, and not just Khabib, like his guys that come there, and with these suffocating wrestling games, and they give you enough striking to implement their wrestling. Maybe that's the approach that he takes. And also let's think about Khabib's style of wrestling, where not only does he get on top of you, he is offensive the entire time, and he's trying to beat your head through the floor, or he's trying to rip your arm off. And Caldwell in the Horiguchi fight, especially that last one, could have used a little bit more of that aggression.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Caldwell is very good at getting you down and holding you and position. He's good in that regard, but Khabib, I mean, if not to compare them because they're not the same fighter, even on the ground, but Khabib just does a lot more damage when it comes to submissions or ground and pound. Caldwell could really, as you said, use that and add that to his game. I agree.
Yeah, big time. So I mean, this is I'm gonna take another look at on the card, see who we are missing from the scales.
Both AJ and Georgie.
Yeah, and Antonio and William Sarai.
Which one?
Antonio's opponent.
I'll let you.
We'll just call him Willie. So, we haven't had Weichel on the scale yet either. All right, so let's go ahead and just talk a little bit about what I guess now is the main event, Mousasi and Machida. So, interesting that just switched the last minute. My first indication, my first instinct says it's going to have something to do with ticket sales and projected viewership.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is actually just because they're doing the tournament draw, the what do you call it? Not the fantasy,
the lottery.
Like the lottery draw. And to have time for it, they want to get the four. Like how they're laying it out is they're doing the 4 tournament fights to open up the main card. Then they're doing the draw. Then they're doing Machida Mousasi. And so if I guess just logistically, it fits into their schedule better for Saturday. If it was 3 tournament fights, then Machida Mousasi, then the main event Pitbull and Archuleta, then they would have to do the draw right after, and maybe fans would leave, and so it gives people a reason to care about the lottery draw also, because it's not at the end of a card, it's in between fights. But yeah, as you said, it probably also has to do Machida, Musasi, way bigger names.
Right.
As far as casual fans go, for two former, not two former champions, but one former champion, one former top contender.
Well,
And so yeah, I think
Masasi was the Bellator champion. So
former
yeah,
Bellator
yeah,
champ,
two
exactly.
former champions. So.
So yeah, I think that's kind of a mix of both.
Yeah, and then also too, I asked Coker about this at the scrum yesterday, which unfortunately my audio and video malfunctioned during this. So you can check out what Nick posted for this on Bloody Elbows YouTube. Yeah, so check that out. But check out the stuff I did on Sherdog's YouTube. But anyway, so I asked him about the effect of Errol Spence Jr. and Sean Porter, which is going on the same night, just miles away, just a few miles away at the Staples Center, and we'll be in the Forum in Inglewood. So how divided that's going to make the fight fans.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge boxing fan, so like I'm not super familiar with Porter and Spence, but I realize I'm not stupid. Like I don't know, maybe some people might say I am. But,
You're probably smarter than me, I'm sure.
But I know that it's a big boxing fight. It's going to draw a lot of combat sports fans. So how? I mean, this isn't the first time this has happened, though. I don't think. Like this is my first time covering a card in LA, but there's been. I'm pretty sure Bellator or the UFC has gone up against boxing numerous times, even in just this region. And then there's one coming up. New York, Masvidal and Diaz is going up against Canelo and Kovalev, and so, I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
And
But typically, it happens in different cities.
yeah,
That's the thing that makes this particularly interesting. So like Kovalev and Alvarez and Masvidal and Diaz, one's taking place in New York, the other's taking place in Vegas.
Sure.
You can think back to when it was a Mayweather fight. I want to say when Mayweather fought. Who did he fought? Damn it, I can't remember who it was that he fought. It was a really, really boring fight, but this Mayweather fight. I think we knew this already. But it was the same night that Vitor Belfort and Rich Franklin main evented. I think that was in Dallas. So you'll have instances like that. Pacquiao fought. In fact, he fought the same guy. It was the night he got knocked out. Marquez, yes. When Mayweather fought Marquez, that was the same night as Vitor Belfort and Rich Franklin. And then when Ben Henderson and Nate Diaz fought, was the same night as Pacquiao and Marquez 4, I think. And that's the one where Pacquiao got knocked out.
but it's interesting when both are happening, as you said, miles away, because it's not just a matter of fans at home. Oh, do I watch both? Do I watch one or the other? It's the LA fans and the California, the Southern California fans.
Which one do you go to?
Which do you go to?
Because one thing about Los Angeles, this is a huge fight town. This is a big fight town. Like this is like a mecca for mixed martial arts. This is a mecca for boxing. You can find high-level combat sport athletes all over Los Angeles. So I telling you, you can go to certain areas in LA County, in Orange County. You can go into Whole Foods and you can see Mac Danzig, shopping for produce.
Sure.
I've run into Brendan Schaub in Marina Del Rey. Like you find combat sport athletes just all over the place. So the fans here know both sports pretty well, and the fans here would want to go to both. Now, as a I don't know if you want to call me a straight up journalist or whatever. Like, I'm a guy with cameras and microphones that attends events in some official capacity. But as one of those people, I wanted to be at Spence Porter because that is a huge, huge fight. But, of course, MMA is my main deal, so here I am. And this is an amazing card as well. So for the fight fan that really knows all the fights, this is a tough choice to make, man.
Ultimately, I think what you're going to see is, yes, there are lots of people that like MMA and boxing, but I would say most have sort of like a favorite one or the other.
Yeah.
I don't know if for everybody they're dead equal, and so they're both really great cards, obviously great boxing match and great MMA card. And so if you're bigger MMA fan, you're probably going to be
Yeah.
at the Forum. But if you're a bigger boxing guy, then you're probably going to be at the Staples Center. So, I mean, and if you are one of the rare, or not rare, but one of the few people that like both equally, well, I guess flip a coin. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, oh man, of all nights, you had to pick the same night. And interestingly enough, too, that DAZN is broadcast partner to both fights. So that they're almost like counter programming themselves. I mean,
Yeah,
the
that doesn't make sense.
not a whole lot of sense to me. The Spence Porter fight is pay-per-view though, but still
Right.
counter
But at the
programming
same time,
themselves.
the zone is going to miss out because some of us are able to do put the boxing match on the TV, stream the Chromecast to TV, stream the Bellator from the phone. Not everybody likes to do that.
Yeah.
They'll even at home they'll pick one or the other, and so the zone has to be losing out on a bunch of viewership on Saturday just running both at the same time. Like I don't know exactly. Maybe the boxing match will start later than the Bellator card wraps up, or vice versa. But if they are going pretty much head to head, then that doesn't logistically make sense for the zone, in my opinion.
I had a very brief conversation about this with a DAZN employee yesterday, who just said, "It's like, yeah, I don't know what they're doing." They said when it was first the Spence Porter fight was put together, this was after Bellator had already secured this date.
Right.
Now apparently Bellator does their production separately, and they just kind of tell DAZN like, "Yeah, we're doing this here."
Sure.
Now that had already been set in stone, and then DAZN decided to put the Spence Porter fight in the same city at the same time, and the aforementioned DAZN employee was quite confused, very confused. It's like, but hey, what do we know?
I mean, we're here at Bellator, so
Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah, Sherdog is an MMA site. Bloody Elbow is an MMA site. Sometimes we talk about boxing, and yeah, that's why we're here.
Yeah.
And this is a good card.
It is.
All right, so Flat Earth Deacon in the chat saying, "What's up, Ant? What's up, Flat Earth Deacon?" And Paige Elk saying it's blurry. Well, let me try to wipe this camera off. Hey, Nick, can you hold the mic for me real quick? Let me try to wipe this mic off. Thank you. I probably made it worse, but we'll see. We will see. Maybe I shouldn't. Yeah, it doesn't look any different. So yeah, my fault, bro. I'll tell you, but shit, man, just enjoy the show, man. All right, so let's see, what else can we talk about on this card?
What's your favorite main card fight? If you have to pick one, I mean, you're probably gonna say Pitbull or Chilada.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to say that.
Yeah.
It's hard not to say, but I mean, excluding a title fight and excluding a fight, Musasi
Sort of
Machida.
the 3 non-title fight tournament fights. Which is it for you?
AJ and Kari.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, because this is definitely the toughest test that AJ has faced.
Not Pat Curran? You think Georgie's tougher test? I know
I
Pat
think
Curran's
so.
is past his prime, but
Yeah, that's why. Like, Pat Curran is
but I kind of think Georgie is too, in a way.
maybe, but I don't know. Like, Pat Curran seems a little bit
More
further
so? I agree.
down the hill than Georgie, and AJ has continued. He stepped up to every test and done very well for himself. And I also wonder what the effect of him fighting alongside his dad may have, because he's cornering his dad too. Now, at least on the bout order that we're looking at, those fights are positioned right next to each other. I don't know logistically how that's going to work.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to imagine that if they are fighting back-to-back, which may not be the case, just Bellator always likes to switch up their prelim order. Yeah, I don't think AJ would be cornering Antonio. Other way around for sure. Antonio, win or lose, probably will be cornering AJ later in the night. But if they are back-to-back, that's probably kind of like an oversight on Bellator's part, because I would think if they do want to corner each other, then it would, usually you want a few fights between them. But yeah, I guess we'll only have to wait and see what who's in each other's corner on Saturday.
Yeah, because if they would have to, the bout order would have to be adjusted. AJ and Antonio both said, we're cornering each other.
Okay.
They told me that yesterday. So, yeah, AJ was saying, like, he he's not trying to think of it in a negative fashion. He's simply saying like it's gonna put the right kind of pressure on him to win. He's saying like, hey, if his dad wins, then he has to win. And then he said if his dad loses, well, he really has to win.
I just think it might be too much like to deal with before. Like if AJ does corner Antonio and he does fight in the next fight after, that's just like, I'm not a fighter. I've never been in that situation behind backstage, 20 minutes out from a fight, but you get into this sort of like vibe almost, and I don't know if cornering someone you love and care about, your father, would like get you into that vibe. Like it's too much pressure almost, as you said. Like
it's a lot to think about.
A lot to think about. 20 minutes or half an hour before you make that walk. So, yeah.
So I've cornered fighters before. I've been a cornerman, and it's a very emotional experience to see someone you care about, somebody that you train alongside of, and someone that you coach, and they go in there and get punched in the face.
Yeah.
And it's this really visceral, like gut-wrenching experience to go through. I don't know if that's the experience I want to go through right before my fight, and especially your father.
Yeah.
Man, that is rough. That's a rough thing. Now, I do think that the McKee father and son duo have the toughness and mental fortitude to get through something like that, if anybody can. But asking anyone to get through that is a very, very tall task.
Yeah. And to your point, I mean, I've talked to a lot of fighters who, fighters that 1 week are cornering someone, like a teammate, and then the next week, not the next week, but another week they're fighting. And they often find the week that they're fighting is just so much more relaxed and easy because they're a lot of fighters get way more nervous to corner somebody than for their actual fight because they care about their teammates that much and they don't want to like mess up for them, and they realize, hey, if I do something wrong in the corner, that could lead to my friend losing and it's my fault, and it's not really that's the case, but that's how they feel, that's what they think. And so cornering someone, as you said, I mean, not an easy thing to do, and then never mind fighting half an hour later.
Yeah, like think about when one fight I cornered my friend for, and we had the game plan all wrong. Everything went wrong. It went exactly the opposite of what we thought it would be, and he lost bad. And like the emotional low of that, and imagining that I'm about to walk out right afterward, I couldn't do it. I don't think I could do it. Now, here's a funny thought as far as this is concerned. What if AJ is cornering Antonio right before his fight, and he's already got his gloves and tape stuff already done? He's got the commission signed off on the wraps and everything. He's out there with the gloves in the corner, like trying to give his dad some water or something. Man, I don't know. It's just
What do you mean exactly?
like he's got his gloves because you gotta have your wraps and gloves. All right, so enough for me saying a bunch of crazy stuff. I'll continue the crazy stuff later because we got a fighter stepping on the scale here. Adrian Nahara, who is 1-0, fighting the 2-0 Jason Edwards, who has already weighed in. This is scheduled at bantamweight. .135.4. That prelim fight is official. Would it be corny if I said someone's O has to go?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. Well, someone's else got to go. Nick said it's okay.
Like 2-0 and 2-0, or
2-0 and 1-0.
Okay. Well, yeah. One of them won't be undefeated, but
Yeah, but so is life.
so is life.
So is life. So I know I was saying something really silly and nonsensical. I can't remember what it was. That's probably for the better.
Something about Antonio and AJ.
Oh yeah. Saying if AJ McKee is cornering Antonio and his fight is next, he probably will already have his gloves and wraps on because the commission has to sign off on it.
Sure.
Yeah. You got to make sure that's good. And he'll probably be warming up. So it just seems like a bizarre scene. So I can't imagine that those two will insist on cornering one another, and the bout order remains as we're looking at it right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. But we won't know until we know.
All right, so I'm gonna look at the bout order on another website here.
I'm not gonna plug which website we're looking at?
Well, before I'm gonna plug it once I figure out which one is better for this purpose. I will not jump on this stream and lie. But let's see. Okay, well, Sherdog.com has Antonio McKee and AJ McKee separated by the Sean Bunch and Leandro Higo fight. That makes a lot more sense to me.
Yes. And now this past 5 minutes just went out the window entirely.
But it gave us content.
Yeah, it did.
And that's what really
You
matters.
have to fill airtime when you're doing 2-hour weigh-in broadcasts.
Yeah.
It's just part of it.
Yeah, man, that's what you got to do. So is it Page Yoke saying, Flat Earth Deacon left for the MMA fighting stream, you traitor. Oh, my God. I'm going to...
You don't even have commentary, I don't think.
I don't know if they do or not, but I'm going to throw something at Casey later.
Or right now.
Yeah, I won't throw anything at Esther. She's too nice.
Yes.
But I'll throw something at Casey. Casey and I punched each other in the face numerous times, so so I'll just punch him again. All right, so let's see if we can talk about something else to fill out time, because there is so
It's not just what this is. This is fun also.
but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. But this is always the problem with the weigh-ins. It's like you get that burst in the first 10 minutes of everybody and their mother weighing in, except for that one guy. And then you wait for an hour and a half for that one guy. But whatever. First world problems. All right, so so actually we never got to what your non-title tournament fight is.
I would say, I think your pick, I like AJ McKee versus Georgie Karakanian. I think it could be an interesting, fun fight, but I'm too confident in McKee to win to be that intrigued. Like, I think it kind of does look pretty similar to the Pat-Kern fight where, Kern might have a moment here and there, but it's mostly one-way traffic for the undefeated AJ McKee. I am a big fan of Darren Caldwell and Henry Corrales. As we talked about earlier, I'm interested to see how Caldwell looks back at 45. He's on a 2-fight skid, badly in need of a win. What better platform to try and rebound his career on than this featherweight Grand Prix tournament? Henry Corrales coming off a big knockout of Aaron Pico. He's sort of at the peak of his career right now. And the thing with Corrales is, like, he was a guy, he's always been pretty good, but he never got the respect, in my opinion, he's deserved for a while. I think he's finally starting to get that. And it's just stylistically, it's like, I talked to Corrales' coaches last night, and you got Corrales, a knockout guy, a striker versus a wrestler. It's that grappler versus striker matchup that we all like. I don't know which way it goes. I lean towards Caldwell a little bit, but I think it's a very close fight.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a pretty interesting card from an X's and O's standpoint. Yeah,
Might not be the most pretty. Like, if Caldwell gets his way, then it might not be super entertaining. But on paper, I like it.
Yeah, it's one of those fights where I think you have to be really, really entrenched into the sport, into everything from a technical standpoint to appreciate what it can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially. But I just have a feeling that Caldwell is not going to go for that same sort of game plan.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Because, like, not only, it's not the most fun to watch, but it's also not a great game plan for him. Like, it's not going to work that well. And so I'm not expecting him to go out there and stand and bang with Henry Corrales, because I don't think that's a good idea for him at all. But if he can mix it up, as we said, more damage on the ground.
All right, so we finally got someone stepping on the scale. William Sariapa, who will be fighting Antonio McKee. He is a 13-8 veteran. I think he came out of retirement a few months ago. Before that, I think he was off for like 3 years.
$167.9.
167.9. Oh wow! Correction. He came out of retirement in March. He defeated 0-5 Leon Klee, King of the Cage. But before that, it was a 4-fight losing streak that concluded in 2013. So I guess makes sense fighting Antonio McKee, who's been inactive for a very long time.
Chris Horodecki is he's a featherweight.
I didn't even see Chris Horodecki's name on that record. Wow. I haven't heard that name in so long.
I remember he fought Lance Palmer for the WSOF title, in 2014.
He sure did, yeah.
But since then, no.
So he stands out more from the WEC days,
Right.
and it was just like, wow, it was this 12-year-old that they got out there fighting, man. The guy probably still looks young as hell. So yeah, at least
he's a Canadian too, I think, right?
Yes, he is. Yeah, he is. All right, let me check out the we're gonna go down the Horodecki rabbit hole. Yeah, that Lance Palmer fight was his second to last fight. He lost about a year and a half later against Derek Gaither at TKO 36. But anyway, we went down quite the rabbit hole because, yeah. But that was a fun little rabbit hole to go down, man. Yeah, so we at least have Antonio McKee's opponent weighed in, so half of his fight is official. McKee told me now I'm seeing this listed as a middleweight bout, but I'm sure that's wrong. Surapaya weighed in at, what was it, 168?
Something.
Yeah, something like that. And Antonio McKee, I know he competed at welterweight through most of his career. So, yeah, McKee, Antonio McKee, very interesting guy. I don't know if you got a chance to talk to him yesterday. I talked to him for quite some time, and he hasn't changed a bit, which I love, quite frankly. I mean, Antonio McKee was one of the most outspoken guys, especially for someone who didn't really get much shine on the big stage. This was a guy who fought, I think MFC was kind of like his, at least that's the run I really remember the most, and he was a very dominant fighter. Wasn't the guy who was going to go in there and spin kick you to death or anything. He was going to take you down and hold you down, but he won. He had one shot in the UFC, and that was against Volkman, who kind of did the same thing to him, and they kind of booted him out the UFC. But McKee has always been a guy who's been very outspoken about fighter pay, about race and equality, and all sorts of things that tend to rise the ire of the lower level MMA fan, if put it nicely.
Sure.
So I do like his presence in the sport. Like now he's kind of like he actually told me yesterday. You can check this interview out on the Sherdog YouTube page, where he was part of the antitrust suit, and he started getting death threats. A lot of racist death threats, and he also thought that it would negatively affect his son's career, so he dropped out, and he's supporting it from afar, but he was originally part of that whole movement. So Antonio, man, is he's pushed boundaries for a long time, so his presence is very welcome back, at least as prominently. Also told me another interesting thing. I asked him about him coaching Chuck Liddell. Chuck Liddell joined the Body Shop, the gym that McKee runs in Lakewood. And he said that Liddell, from a cardio perspective, improved leaps and bounds. He said they didn't really know how to test his chin. He said he didn't do a lot of hard sparring or anything. But he said if Liddell was looking for a fight again, he said he would corner him again.
Yeah, I mean, and Antonio McKee, it's a crazy story. Not only, aside from the fact that he's fighting on a card in his return fight with his son, AJ, the fact that he is coming back and he's 49 and on a big stage, Bellator 228 big card in LA. It's cool to see. I worry sometimes just because he is 49 years old. He's almost 50. Like that, you probably shouldn't be fighting at that age, but...
All right. Grown men do grown man things, All right, so... All right, waiting for a commission official to step up here and let...
They weren't ready for Daniel Fleischer.
Yeah. White was sitting there all by his lonely. but he will be stepping on the scale momentarily. We did see him stepping shot, but until the commission asked him to step off so they can get him officially weighed in.
$144.2.
144.2. And the fight against Saul Rogers, main card bout, is absolutely official now.
What's the weight on that?
144.2. That's another interesting thing that, and please forgive me if I missed this, if this was like some sort of mainstream news that I didn't pay attention to, but Antonio said that Chuck Liddell just had some surgery because it's like the reason why, I don't know, you weren't at that Golden Boy fight, were you? Okay. But Liddell, I mean, I'm sure you've seen him walk, and it's like a walk that's clearly affected by years of getting beaten for a living. But apparently it was some sort of compression on his spine that now that surgery relieved that. So I guess he's going to get a lot of his mobility back, apparently.
So we'll see him back in the cage soon.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe that Antonio was saying. I'm not sure if Liddell is going to seek him out to coach him again, but
I really hope not. Like, I know I don't need to say that, but I really hope not.
no need to.
Anybody hopes that.
Yeah, I don't think you need to be ashamed to say that at
No.
all. I'm very happy to see Chuck Liddell not fight again. Yeah. All right, so let's see here. Now we're waiting on the McKees. We're waiting on Karkarian, who we did see try to weigh in, and he went to the void somewhere in the Los Angeles Westin. I have no idea where
What
he is.
that says to me is, I mean, I'm not saying he's going to miss weight. I'm not even saying it's a tough cut for him, but I guess he's just leaving it a bit later because he was here. He's here, so it's not a matter of he's not at the hotel or anything. It's just, I mean, he clearly isn't ready to weigh in yet, and that's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. He maybe went to the little breakfast joint downstairs, got a scone. We don't
wants
know.
to, he is able to wait till the last very minute, so
Yeah.
he has that choice if he so chooses.
I'd like to think he went to get a scone.
Probably.
Yeah.
I would imagine so.
Did they call them scones in Canada?
Yeah, a little bit. Probably not as popular as down here, but we do have scones.
Oh, see, I don't think it's really popular here. I just wanted to use the word scone.
Got it.
Because how many brothers you say say scone? Like that's
Not too many. Not
exactly.
Too many.
So I thought I'd push boundaries, man.
They were probably pretty popular though. I would imagine here. No.
Probably a lot of hipster things around LA, man. I'm not with that. I got the beer, but I ain't no hipster, man. All right, so before I go down a rabbit hole of my foolishness, I guess we should talk about the people that are going to punch each other in the face tomorrow for money. And, So, AJ, I'm going to screw his name up again. AJ Agazarian?
Agazarm.
Yeah. He, his opponent, Jonathan Corres, has not weighed in as well. I mean, nobody's really... Oh, speaking of Karkarian, look at that. Back from his scone break. And they are getting the towel. The first time the towel has made an appearance. Whoa. Hope we don't get kicked off the YouTube stream for that. $145. Yeah, well, he just showed us all the goodies, huh? He said displayed all the kibbles and bits. Man, that's. So we are here at Bellator Triple X. Yeah, man, just gotta Georgie with plans to leave MMA in favor of the porn industry. Weber Almeida stepping up on the scale now. His opponent, Castle Williams, weighed in quite some time ago. Almeida will not be displaying his genitalia. 144.5. And Almeida has scared the hell out of me with that. I want no smoke, sir. It's your world. I'm simply living in it. Man, I'm still traumatized. When I woke up this morning, I did not think I would see Georgie Karakarian's thing. No.
I wasn't planning on it.
No, definitely didn't have that in my schedule.
He made it weight though, like easy 145, wasn't it?
He made it no issues. So that's what's up.
Good thing he used the towel.
Yeah. I mean, did it matter? It's like grabbing the towel was a total waste of time. Like that was an intentional display of penile tissue. Yeah. Damn, fam, he did that though. He did. Well, so now I got to revel in my immaturity for a little bit. I guess it's time to be an adult again. So, yeah, we've gotten most of this card fleshed out now. At least the fights that matter. It's just Antonio and AJ are the only ones from the main card. And Jonathan Crores.
Sorry.
Oh yeah.
What were you just talking about?
Yeah, I was just talking. Yeah. You see how Nick does right there. He wasn't even paying attention. Like that's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah, you know what I'm.
Direct.
Make it very clear.
Direct all of your hate tweets to Nick Baldwin. What's your Twitter handle?
Nick Baldwin MMA.
Nick Baldwin MMA. Direct all of your hate tweets to Nick Baldwin MMA.
I will take them and I will. You have to. You know you're doing it right when you get hate tweets.
That is true.
If you don't, it's not a matter of being a nice person. It's you're just not doing it right.
No, well, yeah, to an extent. But you are like just a really nice guy.
Appreciate that.
Just
I
really,
appreciate that.
Yeah, and I definitely ruffle feathers.
Do you?
Yeah, yeah, I do. It's fantastic. Yeah, I'm rather sarcastic and whatnot. So.
You're a feather ruffler.
Yes, I am quite the feather ruffler. Should make that belt next.
Yes.
Yeah.
The feather ruffler main event.
Exactly.
Championship fight.
Yes. Can headline MSG with that one, baby.
Ant Walker. Who would it be? You versus.
Man. Luke Thomas ruffles a lot of feathers.
Who?
Luke Thomas. He ruffles a lot of feathers.
Yeah.
But he's
he's
so much bigger than me.
If you asked Dana White, it'd be Ariel Helwani.
Yeah. Yeah, Ariel, he ruffles some feathers, but
He doesn't, but Dana thinks he does.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. Mark, he ruffles some feathers. Mark Raimondi.
Mark, yeah.
He ruffles some feathers, and we already had a stare down with each other at the.
Did you?
Yeah, at the LA Media Day a couple months back.
He's shorter than you, isn't he?
Yes, he is. So
Yeah,
I
so
like
there you
my
go.
chances in
I
that.
mean, Luke Thomas, yeah.
No, Luke Thomas would murder me.
Yeah.
He would deadlift my corpse and use like Marine Corps martial art tactics to impale me.
You could get past Raimondi.
Yeah, I think I got Mark.
It'd be competitive, maybe, but you'd have I'd give you're like minus 200 for you.
No, you know. Go ahead and place your bets on that one right there.
Available on 5 dimes.
Yeah,
right now.
get those odds. Get those odds while they're that good. In fact, I'm gonna tell Mark that later too. And I don't know, Mark might whoop my ass. I don't know. Let me stop.
I'll provide the belt.
Oh well, hey, it is
That's
official.
my contribution to the super fight.
It is official. This will be a fight for the ages. So I don't know. Kenny looked like he can wreck.
Yeah.
Kenny, the videographer,
don't
MMA
fuck
junkie.
with him.
Yeah, he's sitting right. He's sitting right beside me. Kenny's a nice guy, but I think he could fight. He'll probably knock somebody out.
Probably. I would imagine.
I'm a nice guy now. I don't do that stuff no more.
You see, yeah, no more is the key word. No more is the key word. Yeah. Fortunately, I'm on good friendly terms with Kenny, and I want to keep it that way because I enjoy living.
But boy, I'd never do something like that. Why is it every other damn weigh-in we gotta see a dude's dong, man, out here? Dudes just in a rush to show their shit.
I guess so, man. I'm theorizing that he is auditioning for a porn career after this fight.
He's got the body, I suppose.
It's like, man, he definitely put it all out there for us. All right, so we are still waiting for a couple fighters to step on the scale. Antonio and AJ McKee and Johnny Correz.
Yeah,
And
here we go. Here comes somebody.
all right, we got someone else coming in. Can't really see who it is yet. All right, so a towel is needed here. .com.
Could be one of four fighters. So this guy's either Osman Diaz, Andre Walker, JV, or Jonathan.
It's definitely not Andre Walker. Andre Walker's a brother. All right, so it looks like he's changed his mind. He's going to weigh in a few minutes here or something. He just said, "I'll wait till later."
Because he said he was, so this is probably the 135 pound or 130 catch weight. He was 130.5 with shorts, and so maybe he thinks he needs to go. Oh, here we go.
Never mind. Okay. Guess he changed his mind that quick. So here we go. $130 for a fighter on the card. All right. Benji Gomez. Benji Gomez weighs in at 130.
Not even on my list.
All right, so let's see here if this. Okay, yeah, sorry, we had a little issues with the stream, but back up. Ozzy Diaz is about to walk up on the scale next. Ozzy Diaz is scheduled to fight Andre Walker. This is scheduled for middleweight. $184.4 for Ozzy Diaz. He is 2-1, fighting 5-2 Andre Walker. So Sherdog.com has it listed as the second fight on the card, while another site has it listed like the fourth or fifth. So, or sixth. Sorry.
And mine, oh no, never mind.
Oh yeah, what's yours saying?
Nah, it says third from the top.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. So we and
Sorry, I didn't know you guys were
oh no.
I was just gonna say I sent you a message on your.
Oh.
Other,
That's the voice of one James Lynch from The Score.
And make sure to read out what you said on the live stream.
Yes. Yes. So we're going to find out the contents of this message between James Lynch and Nick Baldwin. This is exciting stuff right here. So we got breaking news. Yeah, it's probably
It's loading.
it's some sort of Canadian plot. All right. So we play the waiting game. Alright. So I'm going to take just a little break to grab a little water here and watch. As soon as I walk away, there's going to be a fighter who steps up, and I will be thirsty. I'll be right back. All right, it's your man Ant Walker back. Still waiting. I love the weigh-in waiting game. We have about 45 minutes till the window has closed for everyone to step on the scale. As far as the fights that I think most people might be anticipating, only have a few names left out. McKee, father and son. Johnny Carrez, who's fighting AJ Agazarian. Oh, okay. And Shannon Donfrey stepping on the scale. She is 3-3. The other half of Ava Knight's mixed martial arts debut.
$116.
116 for Shannon Garvey.
Do you know who Glover Share is here for?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, probably just a prelim fight, I would guess. But
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, my first guess would be to look to Brazilians on the card, and you know, Machida is there. I
don't think so.
I don't think so either. Where's Machida training now?
Should have asked him. I should have.
Yeah. I didn't even get to talk to him.
No.
Yesterday. Yeah. So I did just by chance. I took a Groupon thing for like a trial at some Taekwondo school. It was like across the street from my old office. I'm like, oh, let me go ahead and loosen up my kicks again. I ain't kicked high for a long time. Let me go ahead and exercise that muscle once more. And the instructor there was saying that he trains with Machida sometimes, and he kind of keeps the high kick game sharp on him and all that. But he was telling me he was advising Machida to not take the Romero fight. So I think that was like right after the Rockhold fight.
Yeah.
He was saying like he told him he needed a little time off. Machida didn't listen. You saw the results, and that kind of I think that was kind of like a turning point in his career. But oh well. So it is what it is. Another rabbit hole that was totally unnecessary, but I went down anyway because.
This was with the card.
Yeah, exactly. It was a fighter on the card. We didn't start looking up old.
Chris Hordecki.
Yeah, Chris Hordecki files. Oh, all right. So I think this is Andre Walker. $184.5 for Andre Walker. His opponent, Ozzy Diaz, just waited a couple minutes back. Oh, Flat Earth Deacon has rejoined the chat, calling Paige a snitch. I mean, Paige might be the live chat version of Takashi, but Flat Earth Deacon, you should be ashamed of yourself, my man. I thought you was a homie. All right, so Samuel Hill saying Musasi will beat Machida. Nick, do you agree with that?
I do. I think Machida could take it, but I just look at their first fight and it was relatively close, and 5 years later, I think Musasi's best days are behind him, but that goes more so for Machida. Musasi has more left in the tank, I think, on the feet. Just his overall striking, like his punching, he hits a bit harder, more likely to finish Machida than the other way around. Obviously, Machida can land some crazy kick and knock out anybody. But just as far as like the, his jab, his cross, his straight punches, things like that, I think he has a bit more power behind them. Yeah, even on the.
All right, Antonio McKee, aka Cocoa Butter.
$163.2.
163.2. For Antonio McKee. So, I don't know who it was. 163.2 or something like that, I think. So they just had, I don't know if you saw this, but the hallway over there, somebody was just sprinting down, probably cutting the last little bit of weight. I'm going to go on a limb and say that might have been AJ. Yeah, actually that is AJ. Yeah, AJ McKee sprinting down the hall. I just thought it was AJ because I could tell it was a brother, and I think he's the only brother that ain't weighed in yet, so. Yeah, all the other brothers weighed in. So, yeah.
We're waiting on 3, I think.
Yeah, well, me and all the black guys weighed in, except for AJ. So that's why I knew that was AJ sprinting. Yeah, so Antonio McKee's comeback fight, or I don't know if you can really call it a comeback fight. I don't.
It's a comeback, right?
I mean, is it truly a comeback fight if it's just a one-off?
Yeah. Not a comeback career necessarily.
Well, Nick Baldwin has proven to be right, and I've proven to be wrong and a jackass. Thank you, Nick. All right, Samuel Hill. Saying Musasi destroyed Roy McDonald. Machida will be an easy win. I don't. Let's not play MMA math in that case, because Roy McDonald was grossly undersized in that fight. Machida, keep in mind, was a 205-pound champion. Musasi was too. He was a Strikeforce light heavyweight champion. So you're talking about two guys of similar size who had a close fight before. Yeah, the McDonald fight should have no bearing on this. And also let's keep in mind too that Roy McDonald tried to Imanari roll his way through that fight, and just never really a good idea. Terrible idea against a bigger guy who's very technical on the ground like Musasi. So I do think Musasi should pull this fight off. Now, Machida typically is at his best when you get recklessly aggressive or you're frozen.
Musasi is not through those things.
Yeah, he's not that guy. He's and
he's frozen in like emotion almost. But
yeah, but not as far as
what he wants.
yeah. I think people can definitely fall into the trap of like watching Machida, and then he can start doing things to you. But Musasi's not that guy. He's had a ton of fights. He's seen it all. He's fought like every style of fighter you can imagine. And the guy barely sweats, man. He even, when I talked to him a couple months back, he was even saying that, excuse me, that he almost felt like he was too relaxed and too kind of lackadaisical. in that Lovato Jr. fight, and that kind of became his undoing. So normally when a fighter comes to that realization, their next fight usually pretty serious, usually pretty intense, usually kind of crossing all the T's, dotting all the I's, and taking care of the details. I anticipate him to do that tomorrow.
A lot of people are saying that Gegard is past his prime, and yeah, his best days are probably behind him. But I still think, as I said, there's a lot left if he wants to continue fighting, which for now he does. And yeah, I think he's going to be hungry to get back in there and win, because he's a guy, he's not used to losing. Like, he doesn't lose very often, compared to how many fights he's had, anyways. And so he's ready to go, and he'll want to win for sure.
Looks like just got word AJ McKee is coming through. There is a towel, so there is the chance of nudity.
Close my eyes.
Yeah.
AJ McKee.
One 144.9 for AJ McKee. Ooh. And so both AJ McKee and Georgie Karkarian insisting on showing the kibbles and bits to everybody. Yes, they are fighting each other. This is what's called a cockfight. This is a legit cockfight. Yeah, that happened. So let's.
You guys lose the towel, they don't need it. 145 and 144.8.
Yeah. So AJ wants to come back and take a picture at the very end of the weigh-in. So he's probably gonna put on a fresh suit. Definitely.
Depending on what his intentions are, I might have to be out of here before.
Yeah, I'm a little worried now. I mean, he didn't have to show that to us, and he did. So I don't know what he has. I don't know. I don't know what sort of S&M outfit might be being broken out for this. We're good, fam. We're good.
I don't need any more of that.
Yeah. So let's see here. All right, what is next? Is that we got Flores next, right? Is he's the only one left? Oh, and Higo. Okay. Yeah, so we only got 2 fighters left. But main card and the tournament fights are taken care of.
Everyone made a weight, not without you to do that.
Yes.
It took a bit.
Yeah, we've seen just as many fighters as we've seen penises today, and that is a hell of a day. Wow.
The worst one was I covered Bellator in Sioux Falls last summer, and Noad Lahat just ripped his shorts off. Like, we totally forgot about the towel. And yeah, that was something else too.
Yeah, it's like, wow, you just forgot about the cameras that's in front of your face there, buddy.
And the people.
Yeah, like one thing that I do kind of think about is not showing my junk to the rest of the world.
It's not an ideal thing to do. I mean, you could do worse. I'm not even going to say that, but you could do worse things.
You definitely could do worse things, but I mean, there are people in jail for that.
I will try to avoid
Yes.
doing that.
There are people who have to go to an office and see a PO because of that. All right. Leandro Higo up next. 136 for Leandro Higo. He also keeps on his underwear.
It's you! Woo, man! Oh, the champ's here. Leandro Ego! That's the fight of the night right there. Ego versus Bugs. Don't need my division now.
All right, so that was a little addition from very underrated coach.
Something like that.
Yeah, Eric. I'm just
Captain Eric.
Coach Eric, or Captain Eric. Yeah, who's definitely done a fine job with Henry Cejudo, with Patricio Pitbull. You know, he's a coach that's not getting enough credit there. Also the coach of Paulo Costa.
Yeah.
So.
And Henry Cejudo.
Yeah, so he's got a nice stable, of fighters.
And a hype man.
Yes. Nice guy too.
Nice guy.
Yeah, I like him. Good guy. Yep. So I think we've got one more. We've got Kiraz, yeah, who's fighting AJ Zarian. And so everybody watching this stream, can you tell me what you had for breakfast? I'm hungry, and I got breakfast on my mind. What did y'all eat for breakfast? All I had was some coffee. I didn't get a piece of fruit or nothing, man. Let me know. I want to live through y'all mofos. While we wait on the very last fighter to step on the scale. All right, so in the chat, tell me, what is your pick for Fight of the Night? I know Bellator doesn't give Fight of the Night awards, but what do you think is going to be your favorite fight from this? We also have tonight Bellator 227 / Bellator Dublin going on. The return of Michael Venom Page. Got Ben Henderson and Miles Jury, which, yes, please. Some interesting stuff. And then we've got UFC in Copenhagen tomorrow morning. So there is a lot of people getting punched in the face.
A lot of MMA to watch. A lot of people getting hurt. And more opportunity to see some stuff we shouldn't see.
Exactly.
What can I say?
Yep. And then also at the aforementioned Spence Porter fight.
Yep.
So it's plenty of stuff for fight fans. I'm this weekend. So we got one fighter left. Brian, thank you for tuning in. We're still one fighter away from having a complete official weigh-in experience. Sammy Hill saying, I can't wait to see Chris Cyborg fighting Tour in the welterweight Grand Prix finale between Douglas Lima and Rory McDonald. Yes, definitely fights that we can all look forward to. Anticipate Chris Cyborg will be fighting Julia Budd for the featherweight belt. That just is the obvious logical choice for a title fight there. I believe at the scrum yesterday, Coker he mentioned something. I don't remember him mentioning Cyborg necessarily, but saying he did want Julia Budd to fight in Canada. They were trying to put that together, so wouldn't be shocked to see Cyborg and Julia Budd face each other on Canadian soil. Nick is eagerly anticipating that.
Julia Budd and Bellator in Canada.
Yeah.
Yes. But the fact of the matter is, it's not going to be in Winnipeg, so.
Okay.
But, it's better than nothing.
Okay, yeah, see. Will you be going to that one if it's in, you said it's not in Winnipeg. You live in Winnipeg.
Yeah, they're never going to come to Winnipeg.
Okay, so where would they go? Montreal.
I'd imagine. Well, Coker did say Vancouver, so Coker said Vancouver's the option. Reed's in Vancouver, Bud is from there. Roy McDonald is originally from there, so that makes a lot of sense. I think Toronto would be their second option, maybe even first, just because Toronto is the biggest city in the country. So yeah, I'll probably go to wherever, but I'm not gonna go to Winnipeg because Winnipeg is just never gonna go.
Is it Winnipeg like
Winnipeg's
boring or something? Or
Yeah, Winnipeg is right above North Dakota. It's like North Dakota of the U.S.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
like it's further north of North Dakota.
Oh, yeah,
North
so
Dakota's
it's-
already north.
Yeah.
North. Winnipeg's further.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
never mind. Guess you'll be getting some frequent flyer miles to get on board Bellator in Canada.
yeah.
All right. So Sam also anticipating the Lima and McDonald finale fight. I'm really looking forward to that one. My first instinct says Douglas Lima walks away with that. He came very close to winning the first fight. He was one leg kick away from winning that.
Yeah.
And especially if we're questioning the motivation of Roy McDonald and the role that his faith is playing into his desire to hurt people, kind of not the mentality you want to have against Douglas Lima, who is just dusting fools like there's no tomorrow right now.
It's like, yeah, Rory beat Lima the first time, but as you said, Rory he did actually do well against Neiman Gracie, but that's not, to compare that and a draw with Fitch to a crazy knockout of Michael Van Page, previously undefeated. It's just, Lima's going one way, and Rory's going the other. So I probably favor Lima in that, but it's going to be a great rematch.
Yes, definitely a great rematch. I'm very much looking forward to that. So check this out. So we didn't have Bellator didn't comp parking at the hotel that this is taking place yesterday, right? So today, because my office is like right around here, I parked at the my office garage and took a lift over here. And this is the day they hand out parking validation. So I could have had the easy time of just pulling up and then had the free parking. Sherdog.com, I do have some expenses to send you. So yes, to all the Sherdog.com overlords that are watching this, open the checkbook. Yes, cut the check. There are some parking expenses to reimburse. All right, so we got one fighter left, and here's the fun thing about these weigh-ins. There's always a door that's off to the side of the scale where the fighters are coming through, and we're waiting for the last one or two people. Every time that door opens, everybody gets excited, like, all right, here it is. And then it's just a commission official, or it's someone from the promotion, or it's some guy that works at the hotel, just sweeping the floor or whatever the hell. So that moment just happened, and I thought we were going to be liberated so I can get breakfast. Unfortunately, that is not the case.
So there's an hour between the end of this and the ceremonials?
Yes.
They start at noon.
Yes. Yeah, that's what they did last time, which makes it logistically really difficult to get everything uploaded. I mean, fortunately for me at least, I'm, the homie Matt Hunter, who was credentialed for this and was scheduled to be with me. He's homesick right now, so I'm a one-man show. Therefore, I elected to do the stream instead of trying to chop up all the video and whatnot. And so this will not be a logistical concern for me, but for all of my colleagues here, Nick, you included. Yeah, the scheduling will be a bit of a problem. But here's the good part about it. Last time, the promotion was at the Forum, and we did the official weigh-ins in this hotel. They had the ceremonials at a hotel about 3-4 blocks away with the same time frame. So it was kind of like as soon as the weigh-ins wrapped, and of course one of the prelim fighters stepped on the scale at 10:59. Yeah, everybody had to pack up and then drive or walk, a few blocks down the street and then get set up again you know, without any real chance to upload video and do all the Photoshop stuff and blur out all the spare junk that's flying around in the shot. Everybody, so please share your thoughts about this card, about any of the fights going on over the weekend. We might have a couple minutes to talk, so fuck it. Talk to me. All right, we got another question here from Samuel Hill. With expanding relationship between Bellator and Ryzen, will other MMA promoters join in, and what can fans expect the potential fights to come? Very, very good question. I do think that for every promotion not named the UFC, co-promotion is the way to go. Especially now as we're seeing a lot of these promotions have the same broadcast home. The Zone, home to Bellator, home to KSW. Martin Lewandowski and Scott Coker have had discussions about co-promotion in the recent past. Road FC also on the Zone. Combate was or might still be. I'm not sure. That situation seems to be kind of up in the air. But when you've got, like in boxing, for instance, when you're trying to put some of these fights together, a lot of times the broadcast partners are the ones that screw things up. When you're trying to get Showtime and HBO to sit at the table and decide who's the A side, who's the B side, who gets this share of money, who gets that share of money, you start running into complications. But if they have the same broadcast partner, makes things a whole lot easier, a whole lot easier. So I would anticipate these promotions joining forces a lot more because let's just be all the way real here. As good of a product as you can see in other fight promotions, they're most likely not taking over the UFC. And the UFC has no real reason to co-promote other than appeasing the hardcore fans who are going to be watching it anyway. So, yeah, if you're Bellator and you're Rising or you're ONE FC or you're Road, or why not? Why not just join forces and see what you can do? You can make moments that the UFC refuses to make. There was talk of some sort of Bellator Rising show in Hawaii as like a midway point between Japan and the mainland U.S. That sounds like a great idea, especially Hawaii being a place that's starved for high-level MMA to come visit them. You definitely can create some good matchups. You can generate a lot of buzz, a lot of things that can steal the spotlight for just a little moment in time. And that little moment in time can make you a boatload of money, so why not? Good question. Very good question, Sam. All right, so we have about 20 minutes to go. Before the window closes for the remaining fighter, Johnny Correz. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. I've probably been mispronouncing it the entire time. In fact, I think I've pronounced it differently every time I've said it. But that man, that gentleman, he will be the last person on the scale, and he has 20 minutes to get at it. Everybody, everything kind of. right, so we're still waiting on AJ's opponent. Sam Hill saying last question. Well, don't have to be the last one, man. Keep them coming. Keep them coming until this weigh-in is over. We're here to talk. Let's do it. What you got? All right. And the door open again, but fighter not stepping through, so. Looks like some sort of issue with Leandro Higo. Commission official asked him to step outside to talk. And there was some discussion about the proper and improper ways to cut weight. So, I mean, he's already weighed in, so I don't know what the issue can be. He's already official, but something's awry.
Something is going down.
Yes. All right, let's see here. This question from Sam said, will Bellator create a contender series like the UFC? I think it will be a great idea, but what are your thoughts? That is an interesting idea, but I think Bellator already kind of has a contender series. They pull fighters, local fighters, on every card to round out their prelims and their postlims. And they do it as a way to ensure that a certain number of butts are filling the seats, and people stay through the entire card. So it's an excellent way to scout talent. You know, on this card, you've got guys who are 1-0, 2-0. You got a guy on this card who's like 3-4. You know, so they're keeping their eye toward some of the fighters who otherwise wouldn't get any shine, who would be fighting on lower tier cards. So that kind of defeats the purpose of having a contender series, because then it just seems like you'd be diluting the talent pool that you can have on your regular cards that are going to make you money. So, and then also we'll have to talk about the logistics of a contender series. I know that wouldn't be the craziest thing to pull off, but Bellator doesn't have a performance institute. Sure, you can rent out Extreme Couture or something for the day, or one of the many gyms in LA that has a cage, and call it a day, but they already have a contender series in the structure of their prelim and postlim system, so no need to rock the boat in that sense. That's given a lot of fighters a good opportunity. Look at Nick Newell, who got in Bellator on one of those those local guys on the prelim and won his fight. Now he's got a multi-fight deal with Bellator. So keep it the way it is. Now, if Bellator were to decide to create their own performance institute and have a more streamlined approach for bringing talent to the main stage, okay, we can revisit that idea. But until then, no need to change a system that isn't broken. But very good question. And an interesting idea. All right, so about 14 minutes until the window has closed. So, pretty much everybody that most of you guys would care about have weighed in. Pitbull Archuleta, Sassi Machida, Caldwell Corrales, Weichel Rogers, both McKees, their respective opponents, Karkarian and Sarapia, have all weighed in. Ava Knight making her MMA debut. Her and her opponent have weighed in. We're just waiting on John Kuros, who will be the next test for AJ Agzarian, who is seemed to be, was a heavily hyped guy coming into Bellator. His AJ, yeah, but his first fight was at Bellator 214. He lost that one by decision against another debuting MMA fighter. Since then, I haven't really heard the same buzz, and understandably so. They got a guy who, on paper, was just like a striker, and when he couldn't get the fight to the ground, and when he did get to the ground, couldn't get the submission, it kind of darkened the shine of a high-level jiu-jitsu guy making his MMA debut. All right, so the gentleman waiting on Jonathan Kuros, 3-3. Last fight was a first round KO at LXF 1. And that's Sean Merriam's promotion. Yeah, Sean Merriam, who was I interviewed him actually before the second Lights Out event, which took place the same day as UFC 239, I believe. So you can check that on the Sherdog archives. But a veteran of that promotion, who's gotten a call up to Bellator, also fought in Combate and LFA. So he's, for someone who is relatively inexperienced, some good promotions on that resume. Not a lot I can really tell you about him off of his record. It seems to be kind of all over the place. He's got a heel hook win. He's got a KO finish. He's been finished by a KO, a couple decision losses. But either way, we're waiting on him. 12 minutes to go. Now, the true struggle in the official weigh-ins is bladder management. Seems to be a game I failed at consistently, and I thought I had it dialed in. 239 and 241 weigh-ins, I was good to go. This time, not so much. Bladder management has been the bane of my existence at these weigh-ins. It is quite the struggle. The struggle is real. It is rough times for MMA media. Because I'm definitely holding it in right now. And like a fool, I'm going to continue sipping this water because I'm simultaneously thirsty. One of the worst combinations possible. So I'm just going to jump on the limb here and say that this will come down to the wire. I think so.
So we have like an hour.
Yeah, but we're in the same building, so
Yeah.
this time. Oh, it's in this room.
Yeah, it's right
fans coming in too?
Hmm?
With fans coming in too? They gonna do the same way?
Well, it's open to the public, but we're not going to get thousands of.
Oh, all right. So the final fighter, Jonathan Carros, is he's off camera right now. He looks like he's prepared to weigh in, and we're waiting to fire up the scale. And here we go. Here is the final fighter.
$144.7.
144.7 for Jonathan Carros. And we've had no weight misses. Everybody was on point. All fights are official. And that will do it here from the Bellator 228 official weigh-ins. The ceremonial weigh-ins will begin in about an hour and some change. So stay tuned to Sherdog.com. It's your man, Ant Walker. I will, maybe we'll stream the ceremonials. If it's in this room, yeah, probably will. But either way, you know what you got to do. Stay beautiful, stay positive, stay sexy. I'll see you when I see you. Peace.